Alcohol is the drug of choice for America's youth. By the age of 15, half of the nation's children will have had a whole drink.
One study says that 18% of 10th graders have drank in the past 2 weeks. There is an emerging understanding that the negative effects of drinking on a child's development may be greater than once thought.
People who drink at a young age are at higher risk for alcoholism down the line. There is also evidence that early alcohol use can affect a child's brain development.
Alcohol is easy for children to obtain, whether in the home or from stores. In many communities, drinking by children is a significant problem.
It is not just a problem for parents of children who drink. It can have ripple effects that spread throughout the community. It can increase crime, lower productivity, and raise health care costs.
The issue of childhood drinking does not have one single solution. It must be addressed by many different kinds of people, all through the community.
To make decisions, we need to look at our main concerns and examine possible solutions. Every option has advantages as well as drawbacks or disadvantages.
This deliberation will help you make choices about this question. How should our community prevent and reduce drinking by children aged 9 through 15?
Here's the first option. Some children have problems when it comes to alcohol. We need to find these children as early as possible and help them. We should provide vulnerable children and their families with the support they need in order to recognize and deal their alcohol problems.
When alcoholism or other problems develop in childhood, they can hurt development and make it very difficult for them later in life. There is a definite connection between drinking at a young age and later alcohol problems.
This option says it is most important to reach these children.
If we are serious about this option, we will train school workers and health care professionals to identify children who need intervention or treatment for alcohol problems. We'll make sure there are places for families to turn if they discover their children or others are drinking.
And we will increase the availability of treatment programs and recovery support services specifically designed for young people.
But if we do this, then families will need to tolerate interference from officials. Parents may not agree with professionals that their children need help. And we will shift resources away from the majority of children and focus them on a much smaller handful.
Here's a second option. If we are going to make it so our children don't drink, we will need to change the community.
This includes not only making it harder to get access to alcohol, but also stronger enforcement of the laws and the establishment of new community norms.
Almost 20% of the alcohol consumed in the United States is drunk by people who are too young to drink.
The current environment makes it almost impossible to make a dent in childhood drinking. This option says we need to do the same thing about this problem as we did with smoking. We need to change the environment and culture.
If we pursue this option, we would increase enforcement of existing laws against underage drinking. We would change regulations to close loopholes.
We would crack down on alcohol advertising aimed at children. And we would create more programs to fill children's time so they do not get into trouble.
But if we do this, increased enforcement will bring with it increased punishment. More youth will get in trouble. Some adults will face consequences too.
Limitations on advertising will create freedom of speech questions, and groups pushing for these changes will be seen as preachy.
What's more, children already lead very scheduled lives. This would add yet more activities and increase stress.
Here is a third option for what we can do about childhood drinking. It says we need to help children through the difficult elementary and middle school years so they do not get derailed.
Children grow up with alcohol all around them. Later elementary and middle school can be hard years for children.
Rather than focusing on children who show signs of trouble, this option would equip all children with the skills, attitudes, and habits they need for healthy development.
To do this, we would create programs that teach families how to provide the right balance of nurture and discipline.
We would teach children ways to avoid drinking and engage in healthier activities instead. And we would mount community-wide public awareness campaigns about the dangers of childhood drinking. But this option would mean that some parents will have to change how they play their roles. Parents might have to address their own drinking, even though they are not alcoholics. And there are already many programs like this in schools and their effectiveness is questionable.
Finally, community members may see such public awareness campaigns as scare tactics and just ignore them.
Now it's time for you to deliberate over these 3 options for what to do about underage drinking. You'll consider the options and talk about the advantages and disadvantages of each. You'll deliberate over the issue.
By doing this, you will be able to come closer to a decision. You will know your own mind, and you will understand how other people feel about the situation. From this, you will be more able to reach common ground.
So, now, get ready to deliberate over
How should our community prevent and reduce drinking by children aged 9 through 15?